Hobart School of Welding Technology presents Training in Oxy-Acetylene Welding, Cutting, and Brazing. Topic number 10, Job Practice. Square groove weld, butt joint, flat position. The objective of this practice is to be able to produce quality square groove welds on butt joints in the flat position using the keyhole technique. The finished weld should be smooth, flat to slightly convex, and penetrate to the root to form a 1/16 inch reinforcement. The weld symbol would appear as follows. On the arrow side of the joint, deposit a square groove weld with a 1/8 inch root opening and penetrate fully to the root side. The contour of the weld should be convex. Material: 11 gauge mild steel, filler metal, 3/32 inch diameter, RG45. Equipment: oxygen and acetylene supply and equipment, protective clothing, gloves and goggles, striker and pliers, tip orifice size 56, tip cleaner number 56. Gas pressures: oxygen 6 psi, acetylene 6 psi, flame type neutral. The workpiece for this job practice is made of 2 pieces of 11 gauge mild steel tack welded together to form a butt joint with a 1/8 inch wide root opening. The edges of the plates are positioned together to form the butt joint. Use a spacer near one end to set the root opening to 1/8 inch and make a 1/4 inch tack weld at that end. Move the spacer to the other end and deposit an additional tack weld. This procedure produces a consistent root opening that will be fully penetrated by using the keyhole technique. Position the workpiece for welding by supporting it on 2 fire bricks about 1 inch apart so that the joint is over the space. Use a 90-degree work angle perpendicular to the plates and a 35 to 40-degree push travel angle. Hold the filler metal rod 40 degrees from vertical with no side angle and position the flame about 1/8 inch to the right of the tack weld crater. When the keyhole forms, move the torch along at an even speed, adding filler metal a little at a time to the leading edge of the puddle. Be sure to travel along the center line of the joint. This will cause about a 1/16 inch of each plate edge to fuse with the filler metal and form the weld. When you reach the tack weld at the end of the joint, join with it by moving the torch in a small circle to form a small hole. Add filler metal to fill this hole to the same height as the weld. Beware of traveling too slowly or too large a keyhole will form. The excessive amount of filler required to fill the hole will result in a heavy bead with excessive reinforcement. The metal can also overheat. Too fast a travel speed, on the other hand, will cause you to lose the keyhole, resulting in lack of penetration. Allowing the torch to wander from the center line will create a weld with poor fusion into one of the plates. A proper weld should be even, about a 1/4 inch wide, and penetrate to the root to form a reinforcement of about 1/16 inch. The face should be flat or slightly concave. If the face is excessively concave, add a second weld to fill out the joint and form a slightly convex face. To do this, use a backstepping technique. Begin the weld at the left end of the joint and travel to the right end. work and travel angles will be the same as before, except that the travel angle will be drag rather than push, tilted in the direction of travel, as if dragging the puddle along. Move evenly along the joint, adding filler metal to the center of the puddle. It may be necessary to use a slight side-to-side motion to control the size of the puddle. The finished weld will be slightly convex, with good fusion along the edges of the joint. Inspect the weld and continue practice.